Welcome back. Now, a little bit earlier in the show, we met Kaylan Mawa, who joins us in our Cape Town studio ahead of the ATK Pro Series event. Big business. And while we're at it, of course, Grant Hines now joins us as well to talk about some of the accessories that are available for racing simulators. And you can see how far we can take this game. Kaylan, great to have you join us again. Thank you so much, and all the best of luck for a very competitive series.
Thank you so much.
Toys for boys, toys for girls, toys forever. It's incredible how far we can take.
You know, when this arrived in studio, everybody started to drool. I think everybody, just like all the crew, everybody was trying to get on here and try.
The big test has been to see who can fit into the bucket seat.
That's true. That's very true.
And it just goes to show how cool this tech is, right? Like, we love the toys that we play our games on, and having toys like this, especially in a simulator environment, really adds to the experience of playing that game.
And we use the term toys loosely because this goes far above and beyond. I mean, I know there are bona fide racing drivers training on these simulators.
Well, not even, like I was saying in the previous insert, like in Formula One last year during COVID, a lot of the races actually were completed in VR, in setups way more complicated and expensive than this. But that just goes to show how realistic these setups are and competitive they are.
All right, so gents, take us through what we can play around with in this space.
Okay, so the first thing people want is a steering wheel.
The steering wheel.
That's the first thing. Like I'm sure you get it all the time.
Yeah, everybody wants the steering wheel because I think moving from a controller onto a wheel is quite an experience in itself to help with the whole simulation and making it a bit more real life.
Is it easier?
It takes,
Is that a loaded question?
It takes about a week to get used to, but it makes the driving a lot easier. So I think when you're using your thumbs just to make the car turn or whatever the case may be, it's a lot more difficult to learn that over the period of a week than using the wheel. So yeah, it does make it a bit easier.
If you are a driver, you know, there's going to be an intuitive understanding.
And when it comes to the wheel, it's so complicated because there's a lot of force feedback. So you get different kinds of steering wheels. You get ones without force feedback, but that big thing behind the wheel, there's a huge motor.
Yeah.
And that counters you steering if, for instance, there's force feedback or there's G-force in your car if you're going fast enough. If you're playing a Formula One game, it's extremely hard to drive. And you'll see that steering wheel. To control that is a skill in and of itself.
Yeah, just those little nuances can make all the difference. I love that. Okay, steering wheel, tick.
Okay, the next thing I think is the pedals.
The pedals, yeah.
Yeah, people want to have pedals, and people want to have realistic pedals. Most of the setups that you see only have 2 pedals. But you do get ones like this that are more professional, that have 3 pedals, which would obviously be clutch, accelerator, and brake.
Yeah.
What do you have at home?
I have a Logitech setup, so it's similar to this one with the 3 pedals. Generally, I only use the accelerator and the brake. The clutch is mostly for other games where you would need to obviously utilize your clutch to drift and stuff like that there, yeah.
Oh, yes, you need your clutch to drift.
Yes.
For all of my drifting experience.
But yeah, the steering wheel and the pedals is all I need, and then obviously, I think we're moving on to the bucket seat, which is one of the more prized possessions to get, especially for the whole simulation of it all.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to make it feel very real, but physically exerting, you get kind of stuck into this, having that support and being able to kind of nestle in there, I would imagine makes a big difference, and this is just...
Yeah, do you get different size bucket seats? Because I know a lot of people couldn't fit into this bucket seat.
You clearly don't have the narrowest crew. Yeah.
But it makes me think, like, are racing drivers jockeys? You know, do they have to be like...
Well, I think they do have to physically
I think so. I mean, if you go and see any racing driver, they're not the biggest of people. So they do have to obviously be able to fit in the seat. But you do get different kinds, as you asked. And I think mine's a bit more liberal and a bit more comfortable compared to this one, which is actually pro spec, but still just as comfortable.
I think it
for long
speaks to
races.
the G-force and having a lower center of gravity, and being a lighter driver does help when you're in the car because of the G's that these guys are pulling, especially in a Formula One context. The monitor, you obviously want it. Yeah, this is where you need.
So I'm a real fundy for monitors, and I've got at home I've got a 240 hertz monitor, which is real. I'm really spoiled. But that's pretty high end.
Yeah.
Most people have 60 hertz monitors, which means that it can only put out 60 frames a second max, which is what most consoles do. The sweet spot is 144 hertz.
Yes.
And that's like more than double the frame rate. So it just feels more lifelike and
You're
smooth.
in there,
and
yeah.
it's hard for us to explain that to you from TV over here because you're watching this on a 60 hertz monitor. But if you have the opportunity and you are in a mall or you've got a friend with a monitor, ask them to put that setting on so that you can see it for yourself.
You can be fully immersed. Absolutely love that. Then the console, because I'm thinking, where is the console? How
right
is
at
the
back,
console?
yeah. So generally with the console, it depends what setup you're running. So you can run the PS4s or the Xboxes, which is the 60 hertz on the screen. Otherwise, I think what Grant has is a nice big PC. Does obviously cost a little bit more, but the feeling that you get from the game and the views that you can get is a lot better.
Draw distance.
Yeah.
And using a PC, can you kind of start building in similar sorts of accessories to ramp up that
Oh,
experience?
yes. Oh,
Definitely.
yes.
Definitely.
I think the whole Formula One was all done on PCs. They weren't done
Really?
on consoles.
Okay.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, you live a good life, man. You live a privileged
I try to.
life,
I
man.
try to.
Just one last question. How much would it cost to piece together like a full-on rig like this?
Okay, what would starting price be?
For this one, if you were to buy this one, this is one of the higher end models. I think you're looking at 5 figures easily. But if you had to do a setup of your own at home, I think at most you'll pay is about 15,000 rand, roughly.
Wow.
Yeah, but
that's building something
it can go
yourself.
up to like quite easily 300,000 rand.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an investment, so you better be good, and especially if you're taking part in the ATK Pro Series, you better be good, my friends. So sending you all the best of luck.
Thank you.
Stick around, we're going to be exploring more of the amazing world of simulation in our tech world today.